What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Chuck Silver and Smitty here to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. We're here with Occupy Fantasy. Smitty, how we doing today?
Doing pretty good. I think this is one of the better slates we've had in a while, so excited to dig into it.
Yep. See the early birds always showing up. Appreciate you guys. Heath, my boy Barry, and Savage Styles. Nice. So we got some news a few minutes ago that affects a lot of things. Miles Turner's out, and so we have to figure out what to do with Indiana. I have some takes. Philadelphia Drummond, they're saying is doubtful to play, so we're going to assume he's out. I have some takes there as well, and then Jokic still questionable. That's the late game. So at least for those first games where everyone's going to play everyone from them, we'll have starting lineup, so we'll have complete information. We should anyway. With Jokic, we're gonna have to take some guesses. I lean towards he's sitting again because he is sick, but we will get into that. Smitty, you have any like overall takes for the slate you want to mention?
No, I can get to them as we go through, but some really good games, and then some games that are not particularly good, but good for DFS at least.
Yeah, yeah. And so let's knock out. This is actually a really good game for fantasy. I don't think so, but in real life, this is the best game of the night. OKC versus Cleveland. Let's start with the OKC side. So it looks like we're going to have all the value to play everyone we want today. I'm only playing on FanDuel today, by the way. I'm getting a bit of Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein. Always going to play my boy Lou Dort. And then I had to force in. No, I didn't even get it. I tried to force in SGA. Where are you at on OKC?
Yeah, like you, I don't think this game is really appealing for DFS, but it's possible we get some extended minutes. So
Yeah.
I have more SGA than the field right now. I also have a little bit more Hartenstein.
Okay.
It's mainly those two, and then a little bit of Lou Dort. I don't mind mixing in. From the Cavs side, it's mainly just Mobley for me.
One thing I'll mention, it looks like I really want to pay up at point guard today. I like a lot of the pay up options. Obviously, Maxey's a chalk on today's slate, but I think we have a lot of pivots too. SGA is more expensive, but he's one of them. So I'm definitely going to have to just, I guess, bump him more to force him in there. And then these other guys here, yeah, I see him as just GPP plays. SGA, super strong OF index. If Jokic misses, he's, right behind Giannis and Wemby as the top play on the slate. Jalen Williams, strong OF index with good value. Lou Dort, 17.6 DK value, still a good FD value. Kason Wallace, even better. So these guys are stronger plays on DraftKings because this pricing is just kind of dumb. FanDuel, they actually might be a little bit overpriced on FanDuel, but do you like these two guys on DraftKings?
Uh, yeah, I think Dort is just specifically at 4K. He's too cheap on DraftKings.
We haven't projected for 34 minutes. Lou Dort is not a high usage player, but he's going to be on the court in this game. So I think we want to get there more than the field. And then I'll just mention Aaron Wiggins. He's 3,200. Models identifying him as a strong value. Kind of surprised he's actually pulling 10% ownership. Not sure he's actually going to have that once, we have all the other, I guess, values
Yeah,
in the model.
yeah, I kind of expect that probably to change.
All right, nice. Other side of this game, Cleveland. See, my stuff's loading a little bit slow. Not getting much here at all. Just a few shares of Mobley, Donovan, and Jared Allen, and then one share of Darius Garland. Are you getting much more?
No, I think it will be a. I think they will run a pretty tight rotation, so it's kind of hard to get excited about a lot of the bench pieces. And then plus you're going against the best defense in the NBA. So if they see extended minutes, I like Mobley a little bit, and that's mainly it. It's mainly Mobley, and then I don't hate taking some shots on Levert if we get Sam Merrill out.
I don't mind that. We mentioned Ty Jerome on the last game. It was projected to be a blowout, and it didn't quite blow out like we thought it would, but Ty Jerome still got there today. It's not even showing up on the model. Maybe he'll replace Sam Merrill's minutes, but I don't. It's a much different play today than it was a few days ago. This is a 3-point spread with two of the best teams in the NBA, so we can't project a blowout here at all.
Yep. And then one last guy I'll shout on the Cavs bench is Max Strus, especially if Merrill is out. They might put him in, see if he can provide a spark. 23 minutes at 3,900 on DraftKings, I think, is more than fair.
So I'll say my favorite GPP play here is going to be the same guy it has been the last few slates. Jared Allen, 9.2 OF index at 6,400 on DraftKings. FanDuel, he has a power forward eligibility at 7,300. Wouldn't mind taking shots there too. But 6,400 on DK at 1%. This guy has 50-point upside, and he's shown it a couple times. The 28-minute projection could be slightly low. If he's playing well, he'll play the minutes. So I like getting over the 1%. It's not hard. And I'll just mention Dean Wade has a very strong value score.
Yeah, I like that. I think Dean Wade will probably play more minutes than we have projected, so I think he seems like an okay GPP play.
Nice. Yeah, let's get this bread, man. I'm hungry. Good evening, all. Unicorn Love, good to see you. What studs 10K up in our 10K and up are we rostering? Yeah, we can take a quick look at that. I mean, just sorting by OF index, we already know Jokic is number one, but if Jokic doesn't play, Giannis, Wemby, SGA, Cat, we just got another update that he's still questionable. Did you have a lean on Cat?
I kind of think he plays.
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards he plays as well. In terms of like the studs, who are you getting to at the top end the most?
Let's see. Right now, it's Giannis for me. Lillard with the late questionable tag. I'm going to lean Giannis. Has a pretty good usage rate here. It's mainly Giannis and then Wemby.
Okay, nice. I need to bump Wemby up. It looks like I'm really paying up at point guard. I alluded to fading someone on Philadelphia earlier. It's Tyrese Maxey. I think he's just way too owned today, and people are really overestimating the impact of Embiid being out. Like the usage goes up at the efficiency tanks, and so I'm fading Maxey. I'm getting to a lot of Cade Cunningham. If Cat's in, I'm going to be paying for Cat, and then Giannis, Wemby. Got to get SGA in there because I want some SGA. And I believe, did Damian Lillard pop up as a late Q tag too? Do we think he sits?
Yeah, he got the late Q tag. Kind of just would think he sits here with the late Q tag. So Giannis looks like one of the better spins.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get to a much more Giannis. Need to bump him a little bit too.
Yeah, I have him bumped.
Kenny Brayboy, what's happening, dude? Thanks for showing up. Power Dayron Sharp's out. Yeah, Dayron Sharp's out. So we'll get to that when we get to Brooklyn. Brooklyn only has 8 bodies. Well, Smitty, let's look at this one real quick. Levine, Nemhard, or Harden, Tobias.
That's tough. I lean Levine Nimhard.
That was my lean too. Yeah, we'll get more into that when we talk about these teams. So, and JVal 5200 on FanDuel. Sar maybe out late Q tag. Yeah, played Joval yesterday. Came in smashing, and he got an extra rotation in the first half, but put up 0 fantasy points in that rotation, so didn't end up getting there. But yeah, gonna like Joval pretty much every day as a tournament play. SGA and Wemby can be in a full roster lineup because we have the value. Yeah, they can. It's going to be tough because I think there's a lot of really strong payups like Brunson, SGA, really like Cade Cunningham, and then some of these like second tier guys like Kelly Oubre's OF index is insane today.
Yeah, and there's also some really good like mid upper range guards too.
Yeah, Pascal Siakam is one of my favorite plays of the day. We'll talk about him right now. Indiana, no Miles Turner, and so we got confirmed that Thomas Bryant's starting, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so Miles Turner's missed 2 games this season. They were on November 18th and October 30th. The first time that happened, they started Isaiah Jackson at center. He played 25 minutes. This game went to overtime. He did not play in the overtime. They ran with Obi Toppin at center, and he played 33 minutes in that game. He played the whole overtime, so 28 before the overtime. We haven't projected for 24. I think he's under projected for sure. And then Siakam played 38 minutes in that game, played the whole overtime. So 33 without the overtime. It's not great. This was against the Celtics. Pacers won by 3. And then the other game that Miles Turner missed, they started Jarace Walker at center. He played 25 minutes, did not play in the fourth quarter. And Obi Toppin checked in halfway through the third and never checked out again, played 31 minutes in that game. And so I'm pretty comfortable giving him 27, 28 minutes at this price and these ownerships. I think Obi Toppin is actually the value guy that we want to target here. And I'll mention Pascal Siakam played 39 minutes in that game without overtime. So I like giving him extra minutes too. Everything I just said, what do you think about that and this team?
Yeah, I agree with it all. I think it all looks good. Thomas Bryant, if his ownership holds in check, I don't hate taking shots there. Maybe he gets extended run. And then, like you mentioned, Obi Toppin, I think he becomes one of the better value plays on the slate. And he has power forward eligibility, which is pretty huge. And then Jarace Walker, I still don't mind taking some shots there. Maybe he gets some minutes at the 5, but if not, there's going to be some minutes at the 4 to go around. So I think he's a pretty good GPP play. And then, like you mentioned, Siakam. I think Siakam looks great. On DraftKings, he's probably going to pull some more ownership, but I still think he's under-owned if he comes in around 25% like we have.
So Thomas Bryant is going to be the hard one to know what to do with here. On DraftKings, he's only 3,200. Trying to see if the ownership's going to update. We haven't projected for 24%. Seems a little bit low. I imagine the field's going to get there more. Models calling him out as one of the top values. Obi Toppin and Jarace Walker aren't too far behind, but at 21 and a half minutes, Thomas Bryant, is he number one? He's
Yeah.
he's basically the top value on the whole slate. So on DraftKings, are you pretty comfortable playing him heavily?
Yeah, but I'm not really getting there. So,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
I'm getting to more Toppin. Like I have Thomas Bryant for 22 minutes, and I only got 11% on my first run.
And then, okay, so does that mean that you're? Because my next question was going to be, how are you handling him on FanDuel, where we only get to play one center?
Let me double check. FanDuel, I got more than I did on DraftKings, so I guess that's kind of weird.
Interesting. Okay.
But I haven't. I reran on DraftKings after we got Dayron Sharp out. I haven't reran on FanDuel yet.
Okay. All right. So overall on this team, I'm getting a ton of exposure to Pascal, a ton of exposure to Obi Toppin. I will probably. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Thomas Bryant yet. I need to do a couple more runs first and see what other centers I really want to play. And then I'll mention like Benedict Mather and Andrew Nemhard. Are we looking at these guys as GPP plays since everyone's going to be focusing on the other guys, or can we just ignore them too?
No, I really like Matherin here, and I
Okay.
also really like Nimhard. I think they're both in really good spots here. The Bulls pace up matchup. I think they both look good, and then Hallie I think as well. He looks good. I'm getting to some of him. Overall, just this whole Pacers team looks really appealing.
And this was already a couple months ago, but in those two games Miles Turner missed earlier this season, Benedict Mathurin started the second one on November 18th, played 32 minutes, closed, played the whole fourth quarter. On that October 30th game, that was before Mathurin was starting, but he played 43 off the bench in the overtime, so 38 with just in regulation. But he actually started the second half and played the whole fourth quarter, so we're assuming he's starting tonight. And he's probably going to be a fine play, too, that people are going to overlook.
Yep.
And remember, they're playing Chicago. This is a pace up game for everybody. 243 and a half total is very strong. So I'm going to be getting to this team pretty heavily. It sucks because they're the first game. We're not leaving many spots open. So that's why I'm going to plan for Jokic to be out because I think the guy that I'm going to want the most anyway is like, Russell Westbrook, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Other side of this game, Chicago. I'm not super interested in anyone individually, and I guess the field isn't either, except for maybe Josh Giddey on FanDuel. But I feel like I want to run it back with someone here. Zach LaVine's been phenomenal lately, projected for low ownership. The price is up, but are you looking to run back our Indiana exposure with anyone on Chicago?
Like you said, I would like to. It's just they're kind of priced correctly, and then the three guards, you never know which one it's going to be, and then you throw Lonzo into the picture, and it just kind of it muddies everything. But I think Levine is the ceiling play here. I like going to Levine on both sides. I think he looks pretty good. And then I'm getting to a little bit of Patrick Williams, but less so now that we have better value plays.
Yeah, I mean, Levine, 3 out of the last 5 smashes, tournament winning scores. 44, probably not tournament winning, but if he's in your lineup and you hit on everything else, you definitely could win a tournament. But yeah, this is a pace up spot. He's their best player. He looks good. I'm a little nervous, but his ownership is super low, so I'm happy to get there.
Yeah, I like him at ownership. Giddy, I'd be hesitant to get there at 20% on FanDuel, but Kobe White at 2%, I think, is also a pretty good GPP play.
Yeah, I don't mind taking shots on Kobe White as long as he stays under 7K. Especially, I was going to say, if Zach LaVine was pulling ownership, Kobe White's a great pivot, but maybe Kobe White's kind of a pivot off of Josh Giddey at the same price, same positions.
Yeah,
And I want to mention Vooch. He's actually the guy I'm getting the most over on FanDuel. 8,100 at center. We have value. I have no problem paying up at center. I'm wondering if that'll come down a little bit once I, adjust Thomas Bryant properly because I'm not really getting much of him right now. But I like Vooch as a tournament play. If you're not getting to anyone else on Chicago, he's probably the easiest one to fit in because I found that there's some plays I really like at guard where center's more up in the air.
yeah, that's a good point. I need to bump Vooch a little bit. I think the matchup going against Turner is going to help him. Or not
Not going
Turner,
against Turner,
without
going
Turner.
against
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. Thomas Bryant versus Bulls. It's a great matchup, it's all a matter of minutes. I mean, we saw this happen with Sarge last night, and I still think Sarge was one of the best plays, probably the best play on the whole slate yesterday, considering the ownership he came in at. Just didn't play well, didn't play the minutes that we hoped. Thomas Bryant, would you say this is similar or not really?
Um, kind of. I mean, I think the thing with Thomas Bryant is it's possible he gets more minutes, but it's just all variance. But just
Mhm.
going against Vooch, it's hard to see them running top and heavy minutes against a big center like Vooch.
It's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. Kelly with SGA and Wemby. Kelly Oubre is one of my favorite plays on the day. Smitty, how much do you like Brandon Boston for value?
Yeah, he was. Let me double check.
We were talking about him pre-stream, and Smitty's like, "Man, I'm getting a lot of Brandon Boston." And I'm like, "I'm getting 4%."
He's my highest exposed player today.
Okay, on is that on which site?
That's on DraftKings.
All right, well, I'll give you a little preview. We'll talk about him more when we get to the Pelicans. How does Toppin look for DK? I think he looks awesome. One of the best plays on the whole slate. Ownership updated though to 36 and 47%, so not quite as good as if he was going to be 10%. He should be this own though. Like this is appropriate.
Yeah.
Next fun game, Washington, Philadelphia. Very big spot on the slate as well for Washington. All right, so we got Jordan.
Everyone's questionable.
Yeah, so Jordan Poole, Malcolm Brogdon are already ruled out. Kuzma, he left the game. They ruled him out, and then 10 minutes later, they're like, "Oh, never mind. He might come back," but he didn't come back. I don't know. Do you have a lean on Kuzma? I kind of just think he sits.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought he would sit, but I don't know. Maybe he plays.
And then Alex Sarr is also questionable, and Carlton Carrington is questionable. So I thought Carrington was going to be the guy I was most interested in on this team. He is showing up as a second top value, but Keyshawn George is really showing up as a like that deep value play, 1-2% owned, 3,400 on DK. This is not the play that you jam in, but if you want to get over the 2%, I think that's great.
Yeah, I was on him last time, and he had a pretty good game. Or I guess it was last night. And then if Kuzma misses, I think it makes him look even better.
Yeah, if Kuzma misses, Champagne, he's the guy that I'm going to get to. He's played big minutes a couple of the times Kuzma's missed and other guys were out, and I'm just going to give him crazy minutes, and he's going to show up. His price is not value priced anymore. Champagne, he's 5,400 on FanDuel, 55 on DraftKings. But if Kuzma's out, I will want to get a couple percent of him.
Yep.
Very deep GPP play, though. And then yesterday, Jared Butler, man, I think he was in your lineup that you always forget to mention, dude. Humble Smitty. He shipped a tournament and got third in another tournament for over a G last night. Congrats to you, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, Jared Butler was in both of those.
Yeah, and so Smitty did the Q&A in the Discord yesterday, and he's talking about Jared Butler, and I'm like, dude, I'm not getting him. Should I play him? And Smitty said, probably, yeah. And I didn't play him, but Smitty won a tournament, so good stuff, man.
Yep, appreciate
it. Are we going back to Jared Butler today?
It depends on the news. If if Carrington's out, I think it's possible Jared Butler might even start. But if Carrington's in, then you're going to have Butler running the second unit. So I mean, there's just a lot of variance in his minutes. But if he's coming in at low ownership at flat min on DraftKings, he's still flat minimum. So I think he's definitely in play.
So this is the first game. I'd like to think we're going to get the news before the stream ends. So let's just come back to this team after we get the news.
Yeah.
Can cut down on the ifs.
Another thing about Jared Butler is he's over a fantasy point per minute. So anything more than 20 minutes, like if he happens to run into 25 minutes, you're looking at 25 points. So that's pretty good.
Other side of this game, Philadelphia. No Embiid, no Paul George, no Drummond. Drummond's doubtful. We'll assume he's out. No Kyle Lowry, no KJ Martin, and Jared McCain is lost for the season. Maxey, highest owned player on FanDuel. Kelly Oubre is number 2. Caleb Martin and Yabusele pulling massive ownership. How are you handling Philadelphia?
Yeah. I know we talked before stream. We're both kind of lighter on Maxey, so I'm cool with going there. And then it's mainly Oubre for me. I think he's my favorite play from this team. And then followed by Caleb Martin. I think Caleb Martin's pretty good. and then Yabusele. I'm getting to Yabusele. I wouldn't say is like my favorite play on the slate, but he just makes sense. He fits lineups, so I'm still going there. So it's mainly them four, but I'm under the field on Tyrese Maxey.
I'm actually surprised how little Yabusele I'm getting over on FanDuel. I'm only at 18%. Half the field. I would have thought I'd be at least with the field. And then same with Caleb Martin. I'm half the field on him right now. Tyrese Maxey, I have 20%, so I'm way below the field. And I love the model today because the model's telling us Tyrese Maxey is just, we can fade him, dude. This is a model approved fade. 9.4 OF index. Kelly Oubre has a 10.4 OF index. Remember, in the NBA, OF index is not price sensitive. This is just the raw projection. And Kelly Oubre is a full point better than Tyrese. He's pulling massive ownership, but I think this is definitely warranted. Kelly Oubre, one of my favorite plays. Tyrese Maxey, it's like it's a scary fade, but I think it's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, an 11.5 point spread too. So it's possible this game gets out of hand.
And another thing about this, it's funny because I looked into this exact spot. I've been on a little downswing, so we got to look into our process and see what we can improve on. See, am I playing badly or am I running poorly? I think it's a little bit of both. But with Tyrese Maxey, so when we're looking at those on-off numbers that I like to talk about on the stream in terms of usage, that's like, so Maxey's on the court, Embiid's on the bench. That doesn't necessarily mean Embiid didn't play that game. Those are just minutes Maxey has on the court without Embiid. In games that Embiid does not play in, Maxey's efficiency tanks. Like the usage goes up, but he's not getting the easy looks that he's getting when Embiid is on the court. And so we're really just counting on him to put up 30 shots and, make like 10 of them, right? More than 10, 15, I guess. But it's just all that to say, like, I'm fired up, dude. I think Maxey's a strong fade. He's probably gonna drop 70 now that I said that. But at this ownership, this is incorrect. It's for sure incorrect. So it's not always going to work out. But in the long term, if you're taking spots like this and fading Maxey tonight, I think that you're going to be profitable. I mean, these value scores, it's barely double digits. Like, I don't know. Model's telling us it's okay. So I'm siding with the model here.
Yeah, and another thing, if you fade him, you're just overweight on all these other high upside options. So you don't even really need him to fail. You just need your options to outscore him.
Yeah, like honestly, Tyrese Maxey putting up 50 today, like he's projected for 50 around the industry. With his ownership, that probably gets him in the winning lineup, but there's like 8 guys that can easily outscore him. And if he doesn't meet his prediction?
Yeah, like we just talked about Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's $1,000 cheaper. He can go for 52.
Absolutely. And so I hope it works out if you're telling us, but I think it's right. Yeah, I have a 1-2-2-2 ticket in that big FanDuel contest today, and I will be fading Maxey in that lineup. I hope it works.
If it don't work out, it was Chuck's idea.
Yeah, it's not the model telling. I mean, I had the idea before I saw the model.
It's the model. Yeah,
seeing the model agree is just all right. That's all the, that's all the confirmation I need.
Yep.
Let's talk about Detroit, one of my other favorite pay-ups. One of the pivots I really like getting to. Cade Cunningham still pulling some ownership, not nearly as much as Tyrese Maxey, but model likes him way more than Tyrese Maxey. Strong OF index, strong value scores for the price. I think that's basically the only spot I'm getting to here. I guess a couple percent of Tobias, but is there anything else you're looking at on Detroit?
No, it's mainly them two. Other than that, they're all kind of just GPP plays, but I think Cade and Tobias both look good, with Cade definitely having the upper hand.
Yep. Getting to a ton of Cade over the field on FanDuel. 19%, not too far over. I'm not playing like 60% Cade or anything, but I think he's a very, very strong play today. Anything else?
No, that's it.
and then Brooklyn, go ahead.
You could take shots on Duren, but it's just such a big slate that his minutes variance probably isn't worth it.
I feel like I'd rather just play Thomas Bryant if I'm playing Duren. I have him I don't have Duren projected that much better than Thomas Bryant right now. Brooklyn, they have 8 bodies available. Day'Ron Sharp's out, Ben Simmons out, D'Lo's out, Cam Thomas is out, Cam Johnson's out, Trendon Watford's out, Maxwell Lewis is out. That matters. This is a guy. So Smitty before the stream was like, "Yeah, Tosan. I don't know who this is. Tosan F. Bamamama." Yeah, model's telling us we don't really have to pay attention to him. But were you getting there? Was that what you mentioned him?
Yeah, I'm just getting to a few percent. I played him last slate, and now they're even shorter handed without Day'Ron Sharp out there. So I think it's possible he gets even more minutes. Like we have him for 23.5. He's He's a .71 fantasy point per minute on DraftKings, so not great, but at no ownership. I don't hate taking shots.
We have a lot of value plays on this team. No one playing today. Like Claxton's the most expensive player playing today. 6,200 on FanDuel. Still, no one's pulling ownership here except for Tyrese Martin. That's the guy I was getting the most of. You mentioned something to me about Noah Clowney before the stream started. He's shown up with the highest value score here. It's not otherworldly, but it is very strong on both sites. With Day'Ron Sharp out, how did that affect your view of Noah Clowney?
I don't know. I kind of like him a little bit less, but then again, they could do since they're so short-handed, they could not do that. I was just thinking now Clowney's going to have to play the backup five, so he's just going to back up Claxton. But I think it's possible he still gets minutes at the four with how short-handed they are.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. This is always a spot I don't know what to do with because, like around the industry, people don't know how to handle him either. We have Noah Clowney as an okay play. Some sites have him as a great play. Some have him as an okay play, like us. So I'm going to keep him as an okay play.
Yeah, it's like maybe he don't start so he could back up Claxton just to make the rotations make more sense. But if he starts, he's going to look pretty good because he's probably going to play minutes at the five too.
And then Tyrese Martin's minutes are kind of wildly different around the industry. We have him for 33. I saw him as low as 27 earlier. Are you getting over the field on Tyrese Martin? The price is getting there.
Yeah, I have. I'm over the field on him.
Okay. I think I'll probably still end up over the field, but if I can somehow turn that down, then I think I will.
I mean, I'd definitely be down to turn it down. He's not a good basketball player, but just the minutes are going to be there, and there's just so much usage to go around on this team.
It's like people want to talk about scoring dependent players. Like he's a decent rebounder, if I'm not mistaken, but we probably need him to hit 4 threes to get there, right?
Yeah, you do.
Is that right? Okay, I guess actually, like he got 26 the game he did hit 4 threes, and hasn't really gotten there in any other game. He took 7 in this one, scored 27 points.
Yeah, so maybe that's a player we look to pivot off of.
I'm fading. No, I'm turning him down pretty hard now. I've talked about this on the stream. This is something I'm really trying to improve on because I think our tournament takes are elite, but my handling of the chalk is poor. And so I don't know. The thing I want to try to do now is just kind of spread out my exposure a little bit more. And this doesn't seem like a player that I want to be with the field on, actually.
Yeah, I think he has good pivots on his own team. Like Zaire does a little bit of everything, and he's similar price, and he has better. Well, they're similar eligibility on DraftKings. FanDuel, they both have small forwards, so I think that's a pretty good pivot.
And over on FanDuel, like Tyrese Martin is the 6th best value on his own team. Like the model's telling us this is another model approved fade, man. I might just I don't know if I'll X him out, but I'm gonna reduce him a lot. Noah Clowney, Jalen Wilson, Keon Johnson, and then a little tier break, Zaire Williams, and Nick Claxton, okay value. Nick Claxton, 2% owned, is probably a good GPP play at that ownership.
Yeah, especially if you're playing Cade, because you're kind of hoping the game stays close. I think Claxton's a pretty good play in Cade lineups. And then another thing I'll mention about the Clowney situation is if he don't start, I would expect Jalen Wilson to probably draw the start, which he plays pretty good minutes either way, but I think he's a pretty good GPP play.
Watch Lillard get ruled out, and Ryan Rollins goes for 40. We'll take a look at that when we get to the Bucks. How does Wemby do against Giannis?
He's matchup proof.
Yeah, he's matchup proof. I'm more worried about Giannis, to be honest.
He didn't look right last game.
Let's see. Wemby's played Giannis once in his career. It was 1 year ago. He put up 27 and 9 with 6 stocks. Took 18 shots, played 26 minutes. So if we give him another 10 minutes tonight, that would probably be his smashing stat line.
And he's improved.
Yeah, we're not worried about the matchup. And we have the value to play Wemby, so I think it's great, especially if we're not playing Jokic.
Yeah, and I had to bump him to get there, so.
I did too. Yeah. Okoro in, Merrill out. Yeah, so they said Okoro's going to come off the bench. He is on a minutes limit. Probably just reduces a couple minutes for the other role players. And like I said, this is a great real-life game, but I'm not that interested for fantasy, mostly just at the top end and then some shots on Jared Allen. Cavs and expected starters with Dean Wade in there. Good luck fading Maxey. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to need it.
We're going to be hoping all night.
Yeah, especially it's like not only am I fading, but I'm telling other people that I think it's good. So Hopefully it works. Your boy Jordan Hawkins, do you think he's a decent play?
Yeah.
Nice. Drummond officially out. Sarr officially out. That's good. Clowney's the second biggest guy available. Oh, this is our Nick Morrow. How you doing? He'll start at the 4, play the 5. The minutes will be there. Keon should score 40. So I air my favorite dart. Dude, if
Yeah.
Keon scores 40 tonight, man, at 16% ownership, ooh-wee.
I was tilting Keon kind of hard last slate, and then he still
Yeah.
got there. So, I mean, he didn't really get there as far as tournament winning, but he hit value.
Kuzma's in. And Carrington's in. And
So
then
Sarr out.
Yeah, Sar's out. And then this one I'll answer real quick. Tobias or Koulibaly. I mentioned Koulibaly as a deep GPP play yesterday. I still think he's a fine GPP play. And then Tobias, he's had a few good games. Like, to me, he's the second best player on that Detroit Pistons team. He just sucks. So you have a better answer than me.
No, I don't.
How do we feel about Tyrese Martin? We just talked about him. If you rewind like 5 minutes, but I want to fade. Let's go to the next game. Toronto, New York. Let's talk about Toronto real quick. Getting some Emmanuel quickly over on FanDuel. Not much else. Are you looking at anything here?
No, it's mainly quickly. Even then, I don't think he's like a smash play. I think he's pretty good, though. That's pretty much it.
I'll just point out these 3 guys, pretty close to double-digit OF indexes at their prices. They're fine. Quickly's projected for 10% on FanDuel. I currently have 20, so I'm over the field. And I actually might bump him up a little bit more. We have him projected for 32.4 minutes. It's probably a fair projection. They are 12-point dogs to New York, but if they stay in it, I got to think, at least 1 or 2 of these guys has a good game. So don't mind taking a couple of shots, but they're so low-owned. It's not important. Not super important.
That line seems pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell if Vegas thinks Cat's playing or not. But with the Knicks, what do you want to do here?
Let's see. On DraftKings, I'm getting to some Towns. I'm still a little below the field, but I think he's a pretty good play going against the Raptors. The only issue is, like we talked about already, they're 12.5-point favorites, but you'd like to think Cat's doing the blowing out. Plus, he's questionable, so you have that too. But other than that, I think they're just GPP plays. Like, I'm getting to a little bit of Bridges, getting to a little bit of OG, and that's basically it.
Yep, getting to Brunson on FanDuel since I'm fading Maxey. Getting more Brunson than the field. They're the same price. Brunson trumps Maxey on the model. It's just not close, dude. OF index 12.0 versus whatever single digit, 9.4 that Maxey was. We're getting him at 1/6 the ownership. Same price. This is the pivot. This is the pivot right here. I'm not jamming Brunson, but I'm well over this 13%. Maybe I'll end up with 30% just looking at my stuff right now. That might be a little bit high, maybe not 30.
Yeah, I like it.
And then Cat, I always want to bump Cat, even if he's sick. His ownership just means his ownership's going to come in even lower. If he's good to go, he's good to go. So I'm getting to Cat at center, and then just a few percent of Bridges, Hart, and OG.
Yep.
By the model, they're all fine plays. All the starters are fine plays by the model. So, Josh Hart double-digit OF index is strong. Ben Simmons officially out. We knew that, though. Portland NOP. They're pulling a little bit of ownership. What are you doing with Portland?
Yeah. We have Denny questionable, which is pretty big for the slate. But I'm getting to a little bit of Denny on DraftKings. Simons, I'm overweight on Anthony Simons. I think he's a pretty good play tonight. Getting to a little bit of Ayton, but Shaden Sharp's probably my favorite play here.
I like it. Yeah, Shaden Sharp. So by DK value, he looks okay. FD value, he looks okay. But yeah, I like going beyond the model a little bit. Looks like the field is getting there, 14 and 17%. He's been pretty great recently. And between him and Scoot, I don't mind taking shots on Scoot as kind of a pivot since Shaden's been the hot one lately. Everyone's going to go to him. And Simons has been pretty good lately too.
Yeah, and their minutes have been insane, 40 plus.
Tumani Kamara showing up with the highest DK value, highest FD value on this team. 4,600 on DraftKings at 4%. Don't mind mixing him in. If he gets there over one of the other chalk values, you're going to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, definitely. If Avdia is out, then Chris Murray probably starts. I think he'd be a pretty good value on DraftKings at 3,300.
Yeah, don't mind that. We already have him projected for 25 minutes, so if he starts, I don't know that we can give him many more, but a few extra minutes should be good. And people probably aren't going to get there because all their value spots are going to be taken up by the first game.
Yep.
DeAndre Ayton, I want to like it, but there's a risk of him not playing the second half because Chauncey Billups is a jerk. But 14 and 3% ownership, the price I think is fine even on FanDuel. What do you think about Ayton today?
Yeah, I think Ayton looks pretty decent. I'm getting to a little bit. Klingon's questionable, so it's possible we have Robert Williams backing up Ayton, so maybe he gets a few more minutes. But yeah, I think Ayton looks like a good GPP play.
It's kind of bizarre with Robert Williams, right? He is just out of the rotation, right?
Yeah, I think they just don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah.
They're trying to trade him.
Okay. They should trade him to the Lakers.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to have you, Robert.
Hey, did you like that stat I sent you last night about
DFS.
Finney Smith?
Yeah, what was it? Like he's the best player on the Lakers by plus
Yeah,
minus
the
or
past
something?
like 4 games.
That's what I've been saying. His stuff is not going to show up on the stat sheet. I wish it would. Just hit a couple more threes, get another steal here and there. But no, Finney Smith has been great. Is he worth D'Lo? I don't know. But are we going to win a championship? Probably not. Looking at the Pelicans, we had a question about Brandon Boston. I reran. I'm currently getting 13% over on FanDuel. I was getting 4 before. You're still getting more than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then with DeJounte questionable, it's interesting. How did you handle this? You have DeJounte in?
I have DeJounte in. I think he's honestly a 50-50. Like, I don't really have a strong lean. He was questionable yesterday, and he played, so it kind of makes me lean that there's a chance he could sit here, but I'm only getting to a few percent of him if he's out. Um, it's possible Brandon Boston does the ball handling, unless they. I mean, Alvarado probably would play, but I think he's going to be still pretty limited. So it's hard to project him for a lot of minutes. But aside DeJounte in, it's mainly Brandon Boston for me, and then kind of mixing in some of these other pieces.
When we were talking about Boston and his exposure and your exposure to him earlier, that was you were talking about DraftKings.
Yeah, DraftKings. He's 1,300 cheaper. So.
Okay, I'm only talking about FanDuel where I'm getting 13% on DK. He has a very strong value, 17.3 at 3,400 on FanDuel value. It's like the sixth best value on his own team. So this makes more sense to me. Yeah, that's why I'm not getting as much as you on DraftKings. It's just a completely different play, very strong.
Yeah, I'm still over the field on FanDuel, but DraftKings, I expect him to start here, is what I'll say first, and then I also like Jordan Hawkins as a GPP play.
Yeah, I don't mind mixing in some Hawkins. And then with no Zion, you mentioned like kind of pivoting off of Zach LaVine earlier. What do you think about CJ McCollum as a pivot off Zach LaVine?
Yeah, and then he looks pretty good either way, but if you get DeJounte out, then he looks like one of the better plays on the slate, especially at the ownership he'll come in at.
Yeah, and if you want to give him like an extra minute or two for like I don't know if he's mad at Portland, but this is a potential revenge scenario.
Yep.
Are you getting to Missy at all today?
I have a couple percent.
And then with Jeremiah Robinson Earl, I mean, 20-minute projection, pretty strong value. What are we doing here? Did you expect him to start?
No, I expect Brandon Boston to start. I think it's probably one of those two. I think they like Hawkins off the bench as their scoring punch. So, um, whichever one you want to lean, I'm leaning it's Brandon Boston, but it could very well be JRE.
And then if DeJounte does get ruled out, Hawkins is probably going to be the guy we want to try to swap onto more, even if he's not starting.
Yeah. Yeah, Hawkins. And then Alvarado, I'm just not sure of the minute ceiling there for him.
Yeah, it's weird because he's more expensive than Boston. We haven't projected for less minutes, obviously, and I don't even know if I'd consider him pivoting. Probably just take Boston at 3,400 or find someone on another team.
Yep.
See if we got some questions here. What about Westbrook? I love Westbrook. I'm planning as if Jokic is out. That's this next game, so talk about that in 1 second. Does this mean Kuzma will move to the 5 and Joval would only get like 2 more minutes? Did they post the starters?
No, they'll just play Rashawn Holmes.
Rashawn Holmes, man. When he checked in the garbage time yesterday, I cried. I don't think we got any more updates on that. Shaden Sharp or Keon Johnson? Who's a better play, Smitty?
Shaden Sharp.
I could flip a coin there.
Yeah.
5,400 left. Oubre, Tyrese Martin in the price range. Utility at 54. There's probably a lot of options. I mean, this is sorted by value right now, so maybe you just play one of these strong values and upgrade someone else if you can. But these are the top values on the slate right now. Hot take: Halliburton outscores Harden by 10. Yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of overlooked Halliburton too. He's playing at home. I don't know that Miles Turner is really going to affect Halliburton's usage or anything, but it's possible. Yeah, Halliburton's a fine GPP play.
Yep.
Assuming you worry less about blowouts when there's value plays on the losing side, like the Nets guys tonight. We prefer to play value plays from the team doing the blowing out for sure. But what do you think about that, Smitty?
Yeah, like for the Nets, it's mainly just Claxton that has blowout risk tonight. None of the other guys are very meaningful for them, so I think pretty much everyone's blowout proof.
Because the problem is they only have 8 players, and 5 of them have to be on the court to finish the game. And so that's going to include a couple of the starters, probably. Just hope you get it right, I guess.
Yeah.
DeJounte, if he plays, or Brunson?
Brunson.
Model actually has DeJounte by a hair, but they're very similar. Yeah, I mean, it's basically a coin flip by the model. We don't write a plug like NFL. The problem is news changes so fast. By the time we're done writing it, it's already outdated. Yeah, the Bulls total is insane. Oh, we got a lot of questions in here. Appreciate you guys today. On FanDuel, yeah, Murray or Brunson, flip a coin. On DK, play Westbrook at guard or utility. If Jokic is in, we can pivot to Powell with Kawhi sidelined. Good idea. You hate Westbrook versus Dunn? I mean, I'm not going to fade Westbrook because Chris Dunn's on the other side. Brunson for under 27.5. I hope not. And then Bryant or Toppin. I think Toppin's a stronger play, but I need to see what the ownership updates to in like 20 minutes. And like Smitty pointed out earlier, but they need Bryant's size versus Vooch more than they need Toppin. So with Denver, are you going to build as if Jokic is out?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did too. And I bumped up everyone last night. I bumped up everyone tonight. Not getting as much. It's a larger slate. We have more options. But Russell Westbrook is the guy I'm getting here over on FanDuel. Still want to take GPP shots on Jamal Murray. Remember, I'm fading Maxey. It's not going to work out that often, the specific pivot, but sometimes it will. And then like MPJ, saw something weird with Saric last night. I'm going to go back to him if no one's going to play Saric because they're worried he's going to like not play again.
Yeah, I'm getting to the most on DraftKings of Michael Porter. Just his price tag there is really nice, 6,300, small forward, power forward eligible, and then it's Russ for me. Getting to a lot of Russ, and then Jamal I think is a pretty good play as well.
Actually, getting a decent amount of Peyton Watson over on FanDuel. He's going to be unowned if we get that news. He played extended minutes yesterday, so don't mind mixing him or Saric into your lineups. And Saric has power forward eligibility on FanDuel, which is huge.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Russell Westbrook's going to shoot up as the top play on that team, though, if Jokic gets rolled out. On the other side, Clippers, someone gave us the Powell pivot. I don't mind Powell at 6,900. Price came down a couple hundred. Kawhi's out. I'm in the middle of the fires, man. I'm like 20 miles away, but it smells at my house. Smells like smoke. Sky's covered. Understandable that Kawhi had to go tend to his family, but that does give us some extra usage for these guys, and their prices all came down a couple $100. I hate the Clippers. Are you looking at anyone here?
Yeah, I'm getting to more Norm Powell than the field right now. Harden, I am about with the field, but he's just another pivot to Maxey for me. But Norman Powell, I think, looks like a pretty good play. Now he's going to be that second usage on the team. 6,700 on DK, I think, makes sense.
Yeah, that's about the only player that I'm getting to close to the field here. I'm taking GPP shots on Zubac, and then I'm with the field, I guess, on Harden, actually. Point out Derek Jones, 16.4 DK value. Chris Dunn, good DK value as well. And then Norm Powell, 9.2 OF index is pretty good for his price. For FanDuel value, remember, like FanDuel value is a little bit tighter, but still Derek Jones, Norman Powell, Zubac at the top. So Zubac, he's pulling the ownership. I didn't expect him to be 16% owned.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Kind of like that Vooch pivot a little bit more, though. San Antonio, I saw something about Castle. He's 3,440. Why is he 3,400, man? One of the top DK values on the whole slate. Yeah, 14%. We have him projected for 25 minutes. Do you agree with that?
Let me see what I have him for. Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'm a couple minutes less, but I'm still getting there on FanDuel, just a few percent. But yeah, model's telling us we can play him. Harrison Barnes showing up as a stronger value on FanDuel though compared to Castle. Yeah, I have 11% Harrison Barnes. I'm way over the field on him. Are you?
I'm not, but it's actually a player that I bumped before I built my lineups. I still didn't get any, so I'm gonna have to bump him again. But I actually like Harrison Barnes here.
Yeah, with the 30, like I only have him for 30 minutes, and I mean 11% just feels like a lot of Harrison. And then, are you mixing in anyone else?
Champagne for me. I think
Uh
he's
huh.
a good pivot to Castle if he was higher owned. I think it's one or the other. I don't think you really want both in a lineup because they kind of eat at each other's minutes, but I think he's a good play as well. I know last time Castle was chalk, Champagne played the whole fourth quarter, so I think both of them are pretty interesting, with Castle definitely having the edge, though.
And then I'll mention Keldon and Vassal seem like they're going a little bit overlooked. Models identifying them as fine plays. Very, very low ownership. I mean, particularly Vassal, projected for 34 minutes. He's kind of more boom or bust than I would have expected this season. But if he gives us that boom, it should be pretty good. And then save the best for last. Wemby, 15.2 off index, top of the model, assuming Jokic doesn't play. For points per dollar, the scores are okay. The price is definitely up on FanDuel. It's up on DK as well. Sub 10% ownership. He's going to come in higher owned than this. He always does. But Wemby, how much are we playing?
Yeah, I love Wemby today. I'd like to at least be 3x the field on DraftKings if I can.
Ooh-wee.
Like
Yeah,
30% sounds pretty good to me.
I like it. Yeah, I see myself getting 20% plus. I don't know that I'm going to force it, though. I'm going to see what it gives me once I update my value stuff. But yeah, like Wemby, like getting over the field on him. Because the big debate is him or Giannis, and luckily they play each other. This is the last game of the night. Giannis projected for twice as much ownership. It's a little cheaper on FanDuel, a little more expensive on DraftKings. Minutes projection, whatever. It's Giannis. I currently still have more Giannis than Wemby over on FanDuel. It might just be the price though.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard's Q tag. So say Damian Lillard sits. What else are you looking at from? Well, how much is that going to affect Giannis if Dame sits? Are you going to bump him more?
Yeah, I already have him bumped a little bit, assuming Dame sits.
Hmm.
So I'm getting to more Giannis right now than I am Wemby. I might have to play with that a little bit, but I just think he'll have more usage, of course, and then his ball handling role will be better. But still, even with Dame out, it don't really interest me in a ton of bucks.
Yeah. So they announced Chris Middleton's coming off the bench for now, and he's 6,300. And a lot of times I'd say we could take a shot, but I think there's too many other options to take a shot here today. Models telling us we don't have to consider him at all.
Yeah.
Torian Prince will be the starter, projected for 24 minutes. He's not really a fantasy play anymore. He was before. I don't know about now. And then I saw someone mention Ryan Rollins in the chat earlier. If Dame is out, I guess I didn't really think about it that deep, but he probably picks up the start, right? He did last time.
Yeah, he might, or they might hold off on sitting Middleton on, or bringing Middleton off the bench. I don't know. The two players I bumped were Gary Trent and Ryan Rollins, but I would think Ryan Rollins would start.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because we have no idea what the model thinks. I can tell you right now, even at 20 minutes, Gary Trent is single digit value. So even if somehow this goes up to like even 30, well, I guess actually he'd be a pretty good DK value then. But right now, we probably don't have to consider him. And I don't know what to do with this team until the model updates for Damian Lillard being out. So are you going to X out Dame?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. We should have enough exposure. Hopefully, we get this news before the Clippers Denver game, but I think that we should have enough exposure that we can make some comfortable swaps. And even if Ryan Rollins starts, there's so many point guard plays I really like in the early games that I don't know that I'm going to be that interested in swapping to him. Not that I can, because they'll all be taken up anyway.
Yeah, I'd already bumped him, and I still got zero. So
Okay. Would you play Westbrook and Jamal in the same lineup, assuming Jokic is out?
I would. Yeah, I have a max two of Westbrook, Porter, and Jamal.
Okay, nice.
I just don't
Uh,
really want all three of them in the same lineup.
I get that. Yeah. And then Donovan likes Peyton Watson over Toppin. The thing with this is I'm not saying that's incorrect. I think it's probably okay. But with Toppin, we know that the player on his team is out already and that he has the opportunity for increased opportunity. But with Watson, we don't know that Jokic is out. So if Jokic gets ruled in, Watson will not be as good of a play. You'll probably be wishing you had Toppin. Not trying to talk you off Watson. Just want to point out it's a little bit different of a situation. Value C FanDuel GPP, Thomas Bryant. Strother too. Yep, Strother's fine. Smitty, Westbrook, or Kobe White on DraftKings, same price.
Westbrook.
Yeah, I agree. Denny's in and Donovan Clingan got ruled out. So I don't know, man. Like, it's still possible Ayton gets benched. I like him. I'm going to take some shots.
Yep.
Is Lonzo Ball a punt on FanDuel? It's possible. He's a fine punt, though. Not a bad punt. And then RJ Barrett over on his PRA, Smitty. Last question.
No, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Well, we appreciate you guys watching today. We got to get out of here. Actually, I'm going to read this comment. If Mike wins tonight, he's going to swerve and bend that corner. Whoa. It's the dumbest song ever, but stuck in my head. Hopefully it's stuck in your guys' heads too, and that means we're going to win some money playing DFS tonight. So we really appreciate you guys. We have a Discord Q&A with Jayhawk starting up probably 5 minutes ago. Instructions to join that are in the description below. If you want the model updates after the stream ends, you can sign up for the site as little as $1 a day. Gets you access to all the sports and the daily plugs for the sports we offer them for. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you guys.